again, Denley comes out always on the offense. She's a very aggressive fighter.
I consider myself as being a very kind one. I fight as hard as you fight. I hit as hard as you want to be hit.
We're still 3-1. Denley with a hard right.
What were one of your best tournament stories or something you could think of that happened back in the day?
Well, I have several.
What up, Chronicle fam? Sifu Quasi with you. And have you seen this movie before? No. In fact, hell to the nah, because today's guest comes straight out of Texas, not Compton, with a resume that's longer than I could possibly list in the time of this video, or even a day for that matter. Speaking of lists, hit off that like and share button down below so you can get that knocked off of yours right now. It's Grandmaster Linda Denley, world-renowned martial arts fighting champ, instructor, actor, and more coming at you. Let me know if you guys are enjoying the content as much as I am bringing it to you guys. It's so much fun for me. And remember to comment and let us know below who you'd like to see me interview next. Let's go. Super special guest. In fact, a legendary status today. I've got someone who's a martial artist, a national competitor, multiple Hall of Fame winner, okay? Inducted as the first woman into the Black Belt Hall of Fame. As a matter of fact, an instructor, an actor. Is that enough titles? Grandmaster Linda Denley here today. How are you, ma'am? How you doing?
I'm doing wonderful, sir. Thank you for having me.
Well, no, thanks for doing this. And I got to say a little bit inside baseball. It's only taken about a year to get this going. And that's okay, because I know you're a busy lady. But I'm so happy to have you. Happy to have you today.
It's been about a year. Thank you for being patient with me.
No. Thank you for doing it. I know you've had a busy year. I was going to mention a couple things that you did this year. I know you had your own tournament out there back in April in Texas. You're in the Long Beach International Karate Championships like you always do. Now, I know you stopped teaching back in '92, but you're still very active because I saw you were part of a whole...
No. I never stopped teaching. I still teach right as of today.
Oh, no, I say you stopped competing. Sorry.
Competing, right.
Back in '92. I know you're still teaching, but I was going to say I know you're still very active because I saw you were part of a whole black belt testing thing going on. Can you tell me a little bit about that? Because that was for the Bushi. You got the Lifetime Achievement Award.
Right. I received the Lifetime Achievement Award. I'm telling you, man, that thing brought tears to my eyes. You know, most of the time when I receive these awards, you know, they call me and say, okay, you've been nominated and I know I'm going to get one. Mm-hmm. This one was totally a surprise. And it was such a big honor for Zofi Ahmed to honor me with that Lifetime Achievement Award. He has an annual black belt test. Oh my God, I can't even count how many black belts he had that was going up in the hundreds for sure.
Yeah, it looked like a lot of people. I saw you got to put your hands on a couple people though. You got out there.
A little exhibition for one of the ladies that I trained with. Totally surprised too. It wasn't in the schedule. And I decided to. I looked at Mr. Ahmed and he looked at me and I said, yeah, let's just.
Oh, yeah. Go get him. So let me kind of start where it all began. I know you talked about it before, but when you first started in martial arts, how did you, how did that happen? And, why did you pick karate specifically?
Well, actually, I think I didn't pick karate. Karate kind of picked me. How I got started was coming home from school one day. One of the community centers in our area was offering martial arts, and I decided to try to sign up for some lessons. Prior to that, I had I was watching, actually, it's a true story, the Flintstones on TV.
It is the Prowler.
And just something about what he did just made me think about karate. And I said, okay. Wow. And I was enrolled the next day. My parents agreed that I could do it, and I was enrolled the next day. And 3 weeks later, everything is history. 3 weeks later, I was in a martial art tournament. Against my will, of course. Against my will.
Right, because at first I read that you weren't that into sparring, but your instructor just pushed you right in there, right?
Actually, long story short, it was sparring night. Back in the day, we used to have classes for 2 hours a night. And this particular day was sparring day. Okay. And he called me up to spar. Well, initially, I noticed that there were a lot of people in the building, and this was not the norm. And I was very shy individual back then. And and I was wondering, wow, all these people here. People wish they leave so I can train. Right. So my instructor called me up, and he says, "Oh, come on, they call me Ladybird. Ladybird, you're up to fight." I'm like, "Oh, no, I don't want to fight. I didn't sign up for karate to bar or nothing like that."
Right.
Well, I stood there and I didn't fight. For about 30 minutes later, I'm still standing there crying, thinking he would, make me sit down or just forget about it. No, he waited for another 30 minutes. And I'm sitting there just crying and thinking, okay, maybe if I cry harder, he's going to make me sit down and it's going to be over with. He looked at me and he said, when you get through crying, I want you to do what I asked you to do.
Get in there.
So I started to spar, and I just kind of, just like a little tornado, just went through everybody there. That same night, he took me home, and he was talking to my parents. And he said, well, I want her, and I didn't know why he was going to the house. He said, I want her to compete in a tournament this weekend. I'm like, oh, I want to go to a tournament? No, I don't want to go to a tournament. Well, long story short, my mother gave him the eye. About 30 seconds, she waited, and he says, okay, I'm going to let her go. And not until later on in life, I would, kind of know what that I mean. Right. So that was one of my first tournaments. That was 1992, the Mardi Gras National. 1972, sorry, not the Mardi Gras Nationals. Oh, and it was history from there.
Right. Okay. Because you grew up with a lot of siblings, like 12 of y'all total. I know you told me that you played so many sports, like basketball, did track. I think you said did tumbling, like all those sports. So what was more your passion growing up? Was it the basketball first or?
Track and field and ballet.
Okay. And ballet. Okay.
I wanted to be a ballet dancer so bad. Karate was not on the radar. And, I was really a good basketball player. I'm only 5'4" and 3/4", but I was a really good basketball player. But at the time, basketball, there was no money in it for the women and, the lifestyle of a lot of things that was happening there. I just didn't agree. So I'm like, okay, then I'll just do something else. And I did softball. I was a heck of a softball player. I played every position on the field.
Wow.
And that wasn't what I wanted to do. And karate was not really my first love. It's just that I was better at it than anybody else. That's the reason why I stuck with that.
Okay.
It wasn't something that I had look forward to doing in the future.
Got you.
It's just that I had fun and I found it not so much at all times easy, but if you put in the homework, it makes your competition a lot easier.
Yeah, when you put the work in. So tell me, I want to talk about your competition career. How long did it take to get your first black belt, though, as you were moving along?
Well, I was in karate a year and 8 months before I became a world champion.
Okay.
And I was a world champion as a red belt. And a year and 9 months, I received my black belt. Tang Soo system, my first year. Okay,
nice. And then Tang Soo Do, yes. And so now that you get into your competitive career and you're just going, what do you think is the key to just your success as far as being a competitor? What was like, they talk about the eye of the tiger.
You had that eye of the tiger, man, the edge.
You had a stint where almost like you were just like undefeated for so long. What do you attribute that to?
Well, training. Training is everything. If you do the homework and you leave no meat unturned, as far as training, and I think everything else is easy. The training is the hardest part. You have to do the homework. If you give 110% effort in whatever you do, you're bound to be successful in whatever that is. So I believe in training. Training for me was fun. It was fun for me to get up every morning and run 4 or 5 miles. It was fun for me to do 100 kicks on one leg every 2 or 3 minutes. Wow. It was fun. Yeah. It was fun. So, if you leave no meat unturned in your training, dedication for sure. And you have to be sincere to your training. There's no way that you can be successful if you want to halfway do something. Have to be dedicated.
Yeah, I totally understand. Before your fights, would you actually like study your competitors or kind of knew like, okay, this chick is like this is her strength, this is her weakness, or was it just, hey, whoever comes in, I'm just going to do my thing?
I didn't because I knew somehow or another, I just always had in the back of my head, no one is training as hard as I am. I mean, I gave 2 hours every day just inside the dojo and another 3 or 4 hours outside of the dojo. I didn't really study my opponent. If they're there and they're competing, you can kind of pick up on some things that they're doing and not doing. My instructor would always say, Lady Bird, I want you to watch this person or watch that person. It wasn't so much so I can figure out how to fight them, is to figure out the techniques that they had, the ability they had to do whatever they were doing.
Got it.
And I never did study any of them. I had a game plan in my head. I stuck to it.
Okay.
Stuck to it. Right, it's a hypothetical sport. You know, if this happens, you do that. You don't really fight everybody on the same level.
Yeah, and you got that nickname, the Texas Terror, because you basically would just come in and wipe out all your opponents, or how'd you get that nickname?
Actually, you know, I've been asked that question 1,000 times. That is not a nickname. That's a name that someone wrote in a magazine, and it just seems to stick with everybody. Not a fan of it. Okay. Not a fan of anything with the word terrorism. So I've never been called the Texas Terrorist. A lot of people refer to me as that, but I think it's offensive, actually. To tell you the truth. And I don't particularly like that. My instructor used to call me Lady Truck because he think I ran over everybody. Okay, Lady Bird because he said, lady in, a beast in the ring and a lady outside the ring. But the Texas Terror is not a nickname that I'm very proud of.
Who said we were terrorists?
Okay. No, that's good to know because I've seen it so many times that I had to ask you about that. Let's talk a little bit about some of your super achievements. You got so many. What was it like though being inducted as the first woman inducted into that Black Belt Hall of Fame? You're like there were so many big names.
I tell you that award sits in my office right now, front and center. So many awards. I think that's the most prestige, besides this Lifetime Achievement Award that I received about 2 weeks ago.
Yes.
The most prestige award. As you say, I'm in 35 plus Hall of Fames. But every time that I'm inducted into, I'm just ecstatic. Every last one of them. Of course, I've been nominated for many. Only except about maybe 35, 40 of them. Being the first woman to be inducted into the Black Belt Hall of Fame was really an honor for me. It was an honor to be in that Hall of Fame with a bunch of icon martial artists, Chuck Norris and Bruce Lee and what have you. And this go on and on and on and on and on. That was very ecstatic. Unanimously voted for that particular Hall of Fame when I was inducted into that. So that was very impressive to me.
Right. And looking back on your career, just talking a little bit about the competing again, any fights to you that stand out where it's like, I beat her, but man, that was a tough one? Or were they all kind of just like, hey, no one competed harder than me?
Here's the deal. You get into the ring, you're my opponent, you're fighting Linda Denley, okay? Everybody brings their A game to you because they have to in order to win. So I've never really fought an individual that I didn't have to put forth some effort.
Right.
Everybody said, that fight was easy, you won 5-0. But that person, sometimes they're so scared they bring every technique that they have because they have to prove themselves. So pretty much every fighter that I fought had something to bring to the table, something.
Right. It's interesting you mentioned that because I had spoken to Sister Deidre Cole a few years ago. She's trained under Steve Muhammad, and she said she had fought you years ago in like one of the Capital Classics, and she was just so honored to be there to fight you. But she was just like, and she'd had other fights, but she was like, she definitely said that was like the creme de la creme, like the big fight.
Guess who I had to fight against, and I was just so, hell no, this is Linda Denley, You're
about to say Linda Denley's wow.
So it's funny that you say that everyone brings their A game, and I can see that, right? Obviously, because they know they're fighting a legend in that ring. It's like, all right, even if I lose, I can't lose that badly, so I got to bring my stuff, right? Yeah.
But in fighting, and let me just say this to you, I consider myself as being a very kind fighter. I fight as hard as you fight. I hit as hard as you want to be hit. I tell my students all the time, you hit as hard as you want to be. You hit hard, you're going to hit hard back.
But she's always been so respectful, and she's always, she was just always just so cool or whatever. So she didn't try to take my head off or anything like that.
But in order to be able to do that, you have to be able to change horses in the middle of the street. You can't go in there being able to take this fighting up to another notch without putting in the homework, the training. Yeah.
So if you had to say, what were one of your main, one of your best tournament stories or something you could think of that happened back in the day?
Well, I have several, but one that sticks out, we were fighting at a tournament and they called all the Black Belt women to go get dressed. And of course, we went to the dressing room. There was one lady in there. was talking a lot of smack. I mean, she was bumping her gums about Linda Denley.
Right.
And Linda Denley ain't this. Linda Denley ain't that.
Oh, you know, he's got this killer rep, but it's a smokescreen. His face, he's lost his teeth. The guy's a pussy.
But the problem was she was talking to me about me. Didn't know it was me.
Didn't realize it.
So we were sitting there just talking, and she was on and on and on as we was getting dressed about, you know, how she was going to kick Linda Denley and beat her today, and all the other women was in the background going, that's
No, you don't you?
So anyway, as we finished getting dressed, she got ready to leave the dressing room, and I wore my name on my back. I purposely didn't put my G-top on because I didn't want her to see my name on the back. Right. I didn't want her to see right then that she was talking to me about me.
About you.
So I said to her as I threw my jacket across my shoulder, I said, "Good luck to you."
Good luck.
Because I heard Linda Denley is pretty tough.
Right.
Well, ironically, the first two fights they called, when they called the women to the ring, was she and I. And when they called me, I had this little ritual where I walked into the ring backwards. And they called my name and said, "Linda Denley, turn around." So I turned around, and she saw my face, and my goodness, she was shaking like a leaf. She was so nervous because she realized, after all that bumping her gun, it was me.
She realized who she
so
talking
needless to say, they to bow this way, bowed each other. And it was one lick passed, and two licks passed. One, I hit her, and there's the picture where she hit the floor. And this is the judges right now calling for a paramedic to come to the ring. This is what happened.
So her on the ground and them trying to get it back.
Medic to ring number 5. Medic to ring number 5. I remember another time where I was fighting. She's gonna kill me for saying this. One of my good friends, Rhonda Alexander.
Run the red tan Alexander. The crowd like. Ah!
And we were fighting at the Battle of Atlanta, and she hit me with one of her little, what I call a stiff leg kick. She threw a straight leg front kick and caught me right in the solar plexus, and I about sucked up that whole building. Because she knocked the wind out of me.
Right.
Well, quick thinking, I looked over and I saw a little drop of sweat that was on the floor, and I just kind of stuck my foot in there and slid. I was, "Oh, whoa, my knee." Little karate strategy, and they called time, and they thought maybe I was hurting because of my knee. No, I was hurting because Ron Alexander kicked me with that kick.
Gotcha.
And of course, I won the match about 5 years.
I beat the best. I've been beaten by the best.
Still, I was hit so hard, but I wouldn't let them see the sweat.
Yeah, gotta keep that poker face on, right?
Oh, it was fun.
So now talk to me a little bit as we're moving on to other things that you did in your career. I know you joined the Atlanta Pro Karate team back in like '88.
It was first the Atlantic World Karate team, and we went from Atlantic to Trans World All. That's the first professional martial art team to exist. I was on that team for as long as I don't remember the number of the times. It's a fun time. We got to travel and do a lot of fun things. I enjoyed it. They had a lot of great fighters.
Right. And do you think, because like definitely being like so much in a higher profile, because like Chuck Norris and all those guys were a part of all those things, would you think kind of elevated your profile and like got you like looking more towards like movie roles and things like that, or it was just
as far as being on the team? Or
yes.
No. Most of those accomplishments and my awards and achievements were done prior to being on the team.
I see.
All the other things that, as far as the movies and magazines, and those were already in play. I had an opportunity to do several motion pictures. I'm very grateful for.
Right, and obviously the big one, I know you did the movie with Jackie Chan. We talked a little bit offline about the Armor of God.
My fiance's been kidnapped. The kidnappers want the armor.
How did that all come about, and what was it like, out there in Hong Kong filming that?
It was fun time. initially it started with me receiving a phone call about 3 o'clock in the morning, and they were looking for a Linda Denley, and I'm like, okay, this is not the day, the time, nor the hour, and I just hung up.
Right.
And said, if you're serious about whatever it is you're calling about, you call back at a decent hour. Of course, long story short, they called back the next day, and I ended up in Hong Kong doing the movie Jackie Chan and me and Private Ryan.
And so that whole, how long was filming for that? Like, how many months did you guys have to film?
We were there for about maybe 3 months.
Okay. And then stunt-wise, it's true Jackie does most of his stunts, all of his stunts, or?
He does most of his stunts. He believe in if anybody can do them, he could do it better.
Okay. And then choreographing those fight scenes with him, is it pretty easy to kind of understand? Because I know there's a language barrier out there. Did they kind of just put you guys in your spots and, all right, we're going and this is it? Or how does that work?
Well, they had a lot of our producers on the set that they spoke English, so we had no problem following directions.
Speaking of movies, the great Richard Roundtree just passed away. Obviously, the original Shaft. You were in the movie with him. Can you tell me a little bit about filming that and how you got Helen Chung involved and all those things?
We were out at a tournament. I want to say it was the International, Long Beach International, and they were filming a fighting scene for the movie Killpoint with the late great Richard Roundtree and Leo Fong. So Mr. Leo Fong, asked one of the producers, okay, I would like to have, and the late Leo Fong as well.
Yes.
And he said, well, I would like to have Linda Denley, a little fighting scene of Linda Denley in the movie. So he came over and said, I said, man, I was so excited. I was so excited that he had asked me. I was honored that he had asked me to do the movie. He said, well, anybody, you would like to be the sparring partner. And then at the time, Helen Chung was one of my good friends. I said, hey, come on, let's just, I want you to be in the movie with me. And she said, well, don't hit me here. Don't hit me there. Don't hit me over here. Don't hit me on that. So initially, this is funny because initially I didn't do that. And I'm thinking to myself, well, how am I going to display some of my little fancy techniques?
I know, where you going to hit her? Yeah.
After about 3 or 4 minutes and we sparring and moving around, they positioned the cameras and everything. And at the end of the movie, I just decided I'm just going to do a real fancy spinning hook kick and caught her head on that spin kick, and she just bam hit the floor. And I said, "Now I hit you there as hard as I wanted to."
Nice.
He said, well, don't hit me here. Don't hit me there. I'm like, what am I going to do?
I was like, where you going to hit her?
Oh, it's funny.
I want you to hit me as hard as you can.
How long did that take y'all to film?
Oh, it was just one day there at the tournament. Okay. Yeah, we just that fighting scene.
Okay, nice.
Yeah, it was fun. It was a lot of fun. I was really honored to, it's such a privilege to be a part of that. And now two good friends.
How was it working with Chuck Norris on his show?
Fun.
Yeah.
A lot of fun. It was all over the place. Doing our own stunts. Real martial artists.
Yeah, fellow
real techniques.
Fellow Tang Sudo practitioner, right? Out there with you?
Yeah, he is a Tang Sudo as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes. In fact, he lived here in Texas. Well, not too far outside of Houston.
You any plans to get back into the movies, or any like roles come your way that they pitch you every now and then, or how does that go?
If the opportunity presents itself and I'm available, I would consider. I would love to do something like that.
Did you not continue on the movie thing? Because I remember when I talked to Grandmaster Dennis Brown from the Capital Classes and all that, he said the reason why he didn't want to keep doing the movies out there in Hong Kong, number one, because it took away from the time and the time travel and all that, but also it was just taken away from his teaching time.
They kept asking me to come back and do movies and stuff like that in Hong Kong and different places, but I would have had to do what Cynthia Rothrock did. They wanted me to move my family to Hong Kong. I said, I still got a school back in Washington, D.C. I'm not calling my students and say, guess what? I moved my family here and all that.
Did you kind of find the same when you were doing it?
It's a lot of hard work. You spend 12 hours on the set. If you are performing or not, you're still on that set for 12 hours. 12 hours on and 12 hours off. So you have to be dedicated because you don't have another life if you're going to dedicate to that. 12 hours on the set and 12 hours off. And sometimes you film 3 and 4 months at a time consistently.
Yeah, that's a lot.
That's a lot. So if if that's your passion, you want to commit to that, then you have no time for nothing.
Just kind of wrapping things up, as you're still teaching, your Texas Black Belt Academy. How long have you been an instructor? Have you always wanted to also pass things on? Has that always been your main motive?
Well, I've been fortunate and I've been blessed to pick up this thing with karate. I had a real passion. I started teaching karate about 3 months after I was in, showing the other students what I do naturally. I was a type of individual that I think I already knew karate. Just show me how use my foot form and when to do this and to do that. I was already a natural athlete. I tumbled before that. I ran track. I played tennis. So karate was just something that came natural for me. And I started teaching then under the assistance of my instructor. And I've been teaching ever since. That's been 51 years ago.
And so I know your school has grown over the years. And do you have any advice for those up and comers trying to, make martial arts their profession, as far as teaching, since you've done it so long?
Well, teaching, everybody's got their own method in teaching. A good instructor, a good fighter doesn't make a good instructor. Some fighters have to learn how to teach martial arts.
Yes.
And fortunately for me, I learned early on to teach what I do naturally. As far as a competitor, I think that your volume should always speak for your performance. Your volume of training should always speak for your performance. Always.
Yeah.
Training hard, dedication, love for the sport. Give 100%.
So something fun that I saw out there in your native state of Texas, your old high school has an official Linda Denley Day.
Oh yeah, what an honor. Yeah, fortunate enough for that. Linda Denley Day. That was back in. Oh my goodness! Then I started naming days and tell my age, but yeah, that was quite an honor. I qualified for the Olympics in 1976 in track and field, but unfortunately, I wasn't ineligible to go because of being a professional martial artist. I had already started receiving money in my blood world,
right?
And made me ineligible to go to the Olympics field and. Playing basketball later on in life, semi-pro basketball. That was quite an honor. Just high school.
Since you mentioned track and field, I meant to ask you about that back when you were. What did you mainly run? What was your mainly a sprinter?
I was a sprinter. Believe it or not, I ran a 10-2 and a 100-yard dash.
Oh, nice. Okay.
That's one of the fastest records right now that exists, even faster than Phil, Joe, and all the rest of it. But once again, being a professional martial artist back then, I ran the 220, 440, 100-yard dash, and I did the shot put at a distance.
Okay. Yeah, reason I ask, I used to do track in high school, but I was mostly a long distance guy. I was always 1600, 3200. I wasn't a sprinter, but I
was a sprinter. I was a fast sprinter.
And so, teaching wise, if people want to reach out and train with you down there in Texas, is it do they just reach out to your website, or what's the best way?
Yes, you can find me. You can find me on my website as well, lindadenley.com. You can find me at Texas Black Belt Academy, most well. That's what my school is, Texas Black Belt Academy. And anytime you want to come down and train, you're more than welcome.
Now, are only the advanced students actually? You're teaching only the advanced, and you have your other instructors teaching the beginners, or how does that work?
Actually, every now and again, I jump in any classes available. Just have a little fun. I mainly like to teach my 2, 3, and 4-year-olds. I like to break the ice, and I like breaking the ice on all of my students, all the beginners. I like breaking the ice on them. Yeah, and mostly I get in the black belt class sometime, put the pads on, and we move around.
There you go.
Still have a little something left in me.
Oh, like I said, when I saw you in that black belt test, I was like, she's putting some hands on some people again. Watch out.
I just jumped. That was spontaneously. I just jumped in there.
So what's next for Linda Denley? You got so much going on, man. What's next? What should we look out for?
I have so many things in the fire right now. I have so many things going on. I'm considering doing a couple of books as well. I reached out to, matter of fact, Master Bowens, Jesse Bowens reached out to me in reference to doing a cookbook.
I write books.
I cook quite as well as I do karate.
Oh, okay.
I dance too. I teach dance classes. I do not sort of Zydeco. That's a southern thing, if you're familiar with it.
Yeah,
I dance. Yes. So it's a lot. I'm into a lot of things. So, but martial arts, people ask, when are you going to retire from teaching? If I retire from teaching every day, today, I will still be doing karate.
Right. I'm looking forward to eventually. I know you got to put that book out eventually. The Linda Denley story, I think that needs to be, one archive written.
Yes, sir.
All right. I would love to read that. Okay. So I'm going to wrap it up, and you tell me any final words for the audience. This is like martial artists out there that aspire, to be great.
Train. That's my bottom line. Bottom and top, just train. Train, give 100%. Dedication, it's your passion, commit to it.
Yeah.
And it'll pay off.
Wise words. All right. Grandmaster Denley, thank you so much for doing this. All right. There it is. The one and only Grandmaster Linda Denley. Hope you all enjoyed that one and maybe even learned a thing or two about her and her amazing past achievements. As always, let me know your thoughts and comment down below on who you'd like to see me interview next. Sidebar, there's a great article in Martial Arts Extraordinaire magazine on Grandmaster Linda Denley, so much more. Highly recommend you check this one out, and I did for reference myself. And while we're talking Grandmasters and more, I promise you guys we've got one or two things up our sleeve here before year's end. Follow us on all of our socials here and everywhere. Share the video, please, so we can continue to grow this wonderful community. And while you're here, check out a few other interviews and vids over here that I'm sure you'll enjoy. Guys, stay safe. See you all in the next round. And of course, keep punching. If people knew the stuff that you tell me offline, man, I was like, this thing will probably go viral tomorrow.